All right, here's 6.3, number 15, and you have to solve this using the Gaussian elimination method. And remember, you can put this in any order you want. And it appears to me, as I'm looking ahead, that you want your first term to be 1. So I could either divide all of this by negative 10, or I can divide all of this by 4, and I like the way that looks better. So what I did is I rewrote this, but I'm going to put this guy on top. So look, I have 4, 1, 16. This gives me negative 10, negative 3, negative 38. So it doesn't matter. So I'm going to divide all these by 4 because that first term has to be a 1. So that gives me 1, 1/4, 4. And then so I still have negative 10, negative 3, negative 38. Okay, so this is what it looks like so far. Now remember, I need this to be a 0. So what I need this to be is a 10. Okay, so that when I add them together, I would get 0. So I'm just going to do this kind of mentally in my head. I'm not really going to change my first row because it's already a 1 and I don't want to mess with it. So this is what I'm doing. I'm mentally multiply this by 10. So that would give me 10 plus negative 10, which would give me 0. Okay. Now 10 times 1/4 is 10/4 plus a negative 3. Now, I'm just telling you, use your calculator, okay, and use this. Get a calculator that does fractions if you don't have one. So that would be 10/4, and I'm hitting in my calculator for you. 10/4, I don't know what that was. I'm having coffee. Minus 3. Okay, so that gives me negative 1/2. That seems pretty. Okay, now mentally, this gives me 40 plus a negative 38, which gives me 2. Okay, now I could probably stop here, but technically this is supposed to be a 1, so I'm going to multiply by the reciprocal of this since it's a fraction, which is negative 2 over 1. So I could multiply that, but it's still going to give me 0. So I'm going to also multiply this by a negative 2. Okay, so notice a negative and a negative makes this positive. So now my new fraction, or my new matrix looks like this: 1 1/4, 4, 0. Negative negative is a positive 1, and this gives me a negative 4. So I can now quit because I have 1s on the diagonal with 0s to the left. So these are my x's and y's. So I can see y is negative 4. Whoop. So that means I'm going to come up here, and I've got a 1x. I've got a 1/4 y, but my y is negative 4. So hopefully you can see this as a 1/4 y, but you're going to substitute that value in, equals 4. When I multiply these together, that gives me a negative 1 equals 4, so x equals 5. So my value should be 5, negative 4. Okay, and then you can always go up there and test it to see if you're right.